My name is Jo Olsen. I am the Finance Office Coordinator and I've been with the Embassy. I started on the 5th of June 2014. My husband died in a motor accident in 2008. We had been big travelers all our lives and always had Israel on the list, but kind of never got to get here. And by 2013, I thought I was ready to travel again on my own. I contacted some friends, a friend who'd actually worked for ICEJ twice, and he just very calmly turned around and said to me, I think you should be a volunteer at the Feast of Tabernacles for the ICEJ. So I said, what is the Feast of Tabernacles? And, you know, I mean, I knew about the ICEJ because he worked there, but I didn't know anything else or much about the feast or what it entailed. This was the first time now that I was traveling on my own. I'd been married for 30 years. I'd always traveled with my husband, and now I was traveling on my own. So that was in about February of 2013, and of course the feast is in September. So I made the plans and I booked the flight and then experienced the whole experience of being a volunteer at the feast, of working in registration, which is the craziest office during the feast. It was wild. It was wild. I just absolutely loved every minute of the feast, and of course met David van der Walt, who's a fellow South African, and out of my mouth came these words. I didn't intend to say them, and it was almost like I had to look behind me to see who said that. When I said to him, so what does one have to do to come and work here? So he said, well, we require a 2-year commitment. So I said, oh, okay. Because I'd been thinking to myself, 3 months would be lovely, 6 months maybe would be fantastic, because I had a business back in Cape Town that I had to deal with. So I thought 3 months I can do, 6 months would be a push, but I can. So when he said 2 years, I said, oh, okay. I said, I'll have to think about that and pray about that, but I can't do that here in the emotion of this feast, because the feast is a very emotional place, you know. So I went back to Cape Town. That was in October, of course. How God did it for me was as people started to ask me, of course, about my trip and about my time and about volunteering and about the ICEJ and about Jerusalem and about Israel. And every single time somebody asked me about it, I got more and more and more excited about Israel and being there. And I got back a few weeks later, you know, and moved into the finance office and took up my position there, and that's where I've been ever since and loved every minute of it. And so I gave up my business, I gave up my home, and I packed my bags, and on the, whatever it was, date, I arrived in Jerusalem. Coming from your own culture, leaving everything behind, and then moving in with a total stranger who is obviously of another nationality as well, so another culture, another traditions, another maybe even language. It's a challenge for somebody considering coming to be a volunteer at the ICEJ. Do not underestimate the sacrifice that it is. I left behind 4 children and 5 grandchildren, and during COVID, I understood the sacrifice that it had been because I couldn't see them for 2 years. So the ICEJ is an organization with a mission. The people are completely different, but they sign into this amazing vision of being a comfort to the Jewish people. Being part of the ICEJ makes me a living part of an unfolding prophecy in this land and being part of what God is doing here. I'm Jo, and I am the ICEJ.